Section 3 of the 14th Amendment says, if you once held an office in the federal or state government and engaged in an insurrection or rebellion, or gave aid and comfort to the enemies of the United States, you are disqualified from holding office in the United States or in a state unless Congress, by a 2/3 vote of both houses, removes a disqualification. Now, an insurrection is a technical term. It doesn't simply mean overthrow the government. An insurrection has 4 elements. The first is you need an assemblage. That's simply a group of people. Second, the assemblage must be resisting a law. Third, it must be resisting by force or intimidation. If they're protesting, if it's a non-violent sit-in, it's not an insurrection. Finally, and fourth, you need a public purpose. If you're resisting arrest because you don't want to go to jail, that's not an insurrection. You must be resisting, claiming this law is immoral, it's unconstitutional. What I tried to do was show that, contrary to some claims President or former President Trump has been making, the law of insurrection was very well established in the United States when Section 3 was framed and ratified. In fact, the law of insurrection in the United States dates to 1351, the statute of treasons under King Edward, which we modified in the Constitution. But what I tried to show, it's not simply a decision. What I showed, here are 6 Supreme Court decisions. Here are 12 decisions by Supreme Court justices riding circuit instructing juries. Another 6 to 10 decisions in federal court. Another 10 decisions in state court. Here are the leading textbooks of the time. All of them talk about insurrection, and all of them say approximately the same thing, and that's the definition I gave you: assemblage, resisting law by force for a public purpose. So try to show that this is established. It wasn't made up just to get Donald Trump disqualified. I've read the briefs, and I think the legal arguments for disqualifying former President Trump are much stronger than the legal arguments for keeping him on the ballot. If you look at the briefs for the Trump side, they're mostly not contesting this. They're relying on hyper-technical arguments that, well, it just turns out I'm a president, that this doesn't apply to presidents, which is, most people think, a rather strange argument. But I can't predict what the court is going to do. It's not really my job. My job is to say, here's my best understanding of the law. All litigants have the right to appeal any decision of the highest court of the land to the Supreme Court of the United States if the opinion turns on a contested question of federal law. So Colorado interpreted Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. That's the federal Constitution. State courts have a right to interpret the federal Constitution, but when they do so, their decisions can be overruled by the Supreme Court if the Supreme Court thinks they're wrong. If Colorado had interpreted only the state constitution, it would have stayed in Colorado, because the Supreme Court can only make decisions of federal law, not state law. A lot of people have said that by keeping Trump off the ballot, we're denying the right to vote. Now, that's wrong for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is everybody can vote. You simply can't vote for Donald Trump. You can vote for a candidate who says every morning, I will call Donald Trump and do what he wants. But it also forgets what Donald Trump tried to do on January 6th was disenfranchise everybody who voted for Joe Biden, 82 million people. And Abraham Lincoln, I think, summed up our philosophy as a country. One's ballots are counted. There is no recourse to bullets, and those who have recourse to violence after votes should not be candidates for the democratic government.